אני קצת
פה
אחורה.
רואים אותך, פה אתה באמצע.
אתה רואה אותי?
לא, אני לא מדבר.
Okay, so hello to everybody. Yeah, Rehovot. So my name is Kai. I'm from Tel Aviv, but originally and born and raised in Rehovot. And the reason I'm starting with this is because I want to take you a little bit to get to know with my family and my background. And those are my two grandfathers. And ever since I remember the first story about my grandfathers, it's always about cars. They have a huge addiction to cars, and they both run businesses around the car industry ever since the 50s in Israel. And the second generation that came after, that's my father, also came to this industry, and he opened a Toyota dealership in Nes Ziona, and he still runs this business until today. So you probably can imagine that ever since I remember myself, I'm into cars. And that's the only thing I'm passionate about and the only thing I've ever thought about. So I started to find ways to express this love. And in 2017 in Israel, the racetracks and motorsports became legal. And you can actually go and drive on the track in Israel. So I took this opportunity and I started to learn about racing and about driving on the track. And it became a bigger love of mine and a bigger time consuming. And so I wanted to take it to another level. So the next level is this. I took an old car and started to tear it apart. I took everything out and I started to build it step by step until it became just a proper race car. And finally, I started racing in Israel. And yes, it was a good experience, nice experience, and I learned a lot. I thought I know everything about cars at that point, and I discovered that I don't know nothing. In racing, especially in this type of racing, you have to take the cars to the limit. And when you take the cars and yourself to the limit, things are starting to break. And in that point, I understood it really, really badly. And every time I had to find a solution, fix it, improve it, and go back to the track, and again. And it keeps breaking again, and again, and again. Until finally, I found the perfect recipe, and I started to win races. And that was the point that I felt on the highest point of earth, really. And so you're probably guessing that today we're gonna talk about racing. And I assume that most of you think that racing is just a matter of having fun and enjoy on the track. And basically, it's true. And I'm having fun, that was the whole point. Okay, and you probably think that it's dangerous. And to be honest, it's true also. Yeah, it happens a lot. And and you probably think that it's all about the sport. It's just a sport, it's a normal sport. You want to win, you want to improve, you want to beat your opponents. And it's also true. But today I'm going to talk about something else. I want to show you a different side of motorsport and car racing. And in order to do that, I will show you the connection between car racing and motorsport and our normal and daily cars. And by that, I will maybe help you predict the future a little bit, and I will explain. So to start with, I'll go 100 years ago and talk about 1920s racing. It was really simple, not of innovation, not new technologies, nothing. But something from that era in time came to our cars today. And if you see, this driver is an amazing man, and he wants to beat all the other competitors. And in order to do that, he invented something that's really cool, a mirror. We didn't have mirrors on our cars in that point in time. And he did it in order to win races, and now we all have mirrors in our cars. And let's go back to the 70s. In that point in time, cars began to be really, really fast. And it's a problem because you have to keep the car stable and under control. And stuff can happen when cars are going that fast. So we started to see ABS and traction control starting to take place on racing and prevent those kind of things. And the racetrack and the teams are starting to improve those systems on a daily basis. They work all the resources to improve it. And finally, we don't have cars that don't have these systems today. And those systems help us save our lives and avoid accidents pretty much on a daily basis. And another aspect is aerodynamics. It's also very crucial in racing. You have to be the most efficient. Think about car driving over 200 kilometers an hour. The wind and the force that is facing is really something to deal with. And those teams have very big resources, and they have large testing facilities, and they dedicated everything to become better and more efficient in order to win those races. And that helps us with our cars today. They are much more stable and they are much more efficient. But sometimes even being too good, it's not a good thing.
Here we go. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, you missed it, but this guy just flew out of the truck. And
the car flew right up in the air.
yeah, it happened. So you probably think that, again, it's dangerous. But this guy and the rest of the guys you saw by now, they are fine, they're okay, they're alive. But how? Okay? So the answer is because racing is also about safety. And safety become better and better and better, partially during racing. And in the 70s, accidents were a really big issue. So teams found a way to use new materials in order to build the chassis of the car and help those cars become lighter and stronger. And they found out carbon fiber, which we all probably know by now, and the car industry is using it on regular basis in that point in time, in our cars, in our normal cars. And another thing I want to show you is that guy in the black shirt. He is the chief of engineering in Toyota's racing department. And basically what he shows us is that table is full of evidence, real evidence from real race cars that they took to the limits in order to find the failure points. And when they find the failure points, they fix it and improve it on our cars. And that's what makes Toyota become a reliable car and good car to have. So you can come to Toyota in Estiona. So after we saw a little bit the connection between race cars and the tracks and our road cars, I want to talk about maybe how future will look like when we look about cars. So basically we have now Formula E, and Formula E is just formula or just race car as you think about it, but it's just electric race car. It's fully electric. So you probably can imagine how hard these components are taking into the extreme level, and how good we improve the batteries, the electric engines, the cooling systems, all the components that basically we have on our road electric vehicle, taken here to the extreme. And last thing I want to talk about is data. Data is becoming crucial in motorsport. And we find all the time new sensors, new cameras, new opportunities to learn from this data. But think what we can do with this data on a real world situation. And autonomous cars are basically the point A and point B. Mobileye can do it, but we want to think about the extreme cases. I think this is the biggest concern in autonomous vehicles. And from the racing data, you can learn a lot about those extreme situations. And basically, it's supposed to run good, but this is autonomous race car that's using the track in order to find the new limitation.
This is
And
a technical project?
no, but looks like they also bring those kinds. And well, this guy, he didn't go that well, but that's the whole point. You learn from those mistakes in racing. So if I go back to the question of how future mobility or how future vehicles will look like, to be honest, I don't know. I really don't know. I know just one thing for sure, and I know that racing and motorsport will be part of that future. So that's it. Thank you, and I guess I'll see you on the track.
Formula races with the hydrogen.
With?
Hydrogen engines?
Yes, they're also not formula, but a different kind of racing.
Formula O or something like this.
I don't know Formula O, but there is you can look for it. But there are some racing series that use hydrogen engine, and they're also testing this. Right. Yeah. Okay.
How do you differentiate driving on the track from driving on a highway? Do you?
No, I do. To be honest, when you start racing and you go to the road, you start to be more scared than ever. Because when you take a car to the track and you start to learn about limits, you understand how complicated it is and how hard it is to control a car when you are under control. So I don't trust anyone around me on roads, because I know they don't know what I know. So basically on roads, I'm pretty easy.
Extra careful.
Yeah, extra careful, pretty easy. And another thing is that I have this for weekends that I can, take it all out. So I can drive my bicycle and it's okay.
What is this racing?
We have 3 racetracks. One is Arad, Beersheba, and Patzael, which is now basically really not so safe to go there. So, yeah.
How large is the community?
Not that big. You mean in Israel, right? Not that big. I've been racing for 4 years, and basically with each season, if I take the whole categories and everyone, there was around 50 drivers, which is pretty a lot. But in terms of, this is the group. There's some people that it's their hobby and they come to just have fun and learn, but it's not that common thing to. I don't know the numbers, but it's not that big.
I know 3 people.
Really?
It's
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. So maybe it's bigger than I think.
Do you still have
Hopefully.
your appendix?
Excuse me?
Do you still have your appendix? Appendix?
What?
But Dr. Tabet,
No. I didn't understand the
The
joke.
Formula 1 driver who
The Carlos Sainz. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm healthy by now.
I'm curious, you mentioned that the lessons from racing help the future of mobility.
Yeah.
Does it happen today that there are specific racing, like cars and areas where they do it specifically to understand how to learn about the future of mobility, or is it the pure side effect of racing?
I think it's just it's more correct to say that it's side effect, and I think that new technologies and innovations are not invented on the track. They're basically taking to test and find new ways to improve. That without racing, it will be very hard to mimicate and to take those elements into account. And so when you find the limit of a Toyota Yaris, and after a 300 or something kilometer, you can just take the same elements from this and put it on a racetrack, and it will be much easier to understand where you are and how you deal with the failure points. So basically what I'm saying is it's not innovation hub, but it is an accelerator.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So maybe like companies may, instead of just having a crash course, like a crash test, they can also do racing.
And they do it. They do it. For sure.
I didn't really hear, especially in the autonomous vehicles part.
They are. I will,
really,
yeah.
That's the first time I've seen it.
Yeah. So that video is taken from like a testing facility, but there are races. I couldn't find anything that is good for the presentation, but there are. I will show you real-time races, and even there are races that they take real person and AI driving, and they let them race. So it's really cool. Here. There are accidents also in that, so it's nice. Okay, thank you guys for listening.